A win for the Tigers, and they stay in touch with the Smithies VFL top 8. And Ollie Hayes-Brown a long way from the Perth Wildcats to punt road in the ruck against Burkov. Wilson, Dow, Nelson, who was an emergency into the team with those carryovers. Shares to Carroll, who pivots it deep, and it's off the fists of Tresize, the Ghanaian medalist, as the Tigers VFL best and fairest last year, and the Blues get an early score and perhaps the advantage of a bit of a southerly breeze in this opening quarter.
Yeah, it's probably a 2-goal breeze heading to the left of screen today.
Off Cumberland to Ollie Hayes-Brown. Great story, and their scrapping hard is Prout. White pops a handball. Cooper Lord, the new blue, couldn't control it. Garner comes crashing through. He's taken a ground by White. We'll have a ball up. So number 47 for the Tigers playing in the ruck today, Ollie Hayes-Brown. You can see him there with the moustache and the tats. Not that that makes it too obvious these days. Everyone seems to have moustaches.
Discernible. Yeah.
He's the guy without the moustache and the tats.
That makes him the norm.
Yeah, correct. There he is. Almost got his hands on the football. First-year player coming across from basketball. Learned his trade at Old Ivanhoe in the Ammos earlier in the season, and now playing some VFL football, which is great news. White towards half-forward. McMahon's had a fine year. Finds Durden. He's tackled to the line.
Ollie Hayes-Brown had a couple of years as a junior at Mount Eliza on the Mornings Peninsula. Didn't play any footy, organised footy at least, beyond the age of 12. Had a little bit of a kick with Peninsula Grammar, but then, of course, has gone down the basketball route since with UC Riverside in the NCAA, and then, as mentioned, some time with the Wildcats.
Old Ivanhoe with Jared Geeshan, the son of former Tiger coach Jeff Geeshan, in the Ammos. Nice gather from Campbell Gray. And they try to get over the back of the Blues defence here, and there might be a chance through Cam Olden. Aquay's the deepest man back. Monahan got back to try and affect the spoil, but in the process gives away the free kick. And the first opportunity of the day for the Tigers goes to Austin Johnson.
Well, it's interesting with that kick because we saw one of those not being given last night against Draper in the 50, but that's a good call from the umpire there, but a good start. Carlton had the deepest defender there, so it was good not to blaze away inside 50. Found a great target, let the play come in front of him there.
Ozzie Johnson, Richmond's second most experienced VFL player in their lineup this afternoon, behind Cam Olden, playing game 38. Chance to kick the opening goal. Keeps it low into the breeze. Off hands, minor score.
And Irishman Rob Monahan, who's only 12 games into his Aussie rules journey, Liv, will come back to that in a moment. Be interested in your thoughts from a defensive point of view on what he could have done differently there to maybe not infringe. He gets a mark here and would have got an infringement anyway. And he looks hurt after that contact from the Tigers VFL skipper today in Ghana. So Monahan will delegate to Aquay, who shapes the kick for Lord, who's got good hands and wants to keep it going. The kick was touched. Nelson's in motion anyway. He'll take some ground.
Yeah, the Irish, I love them. We've got a lot in AFLW, but also we're seeing a lot of Category B rookies come through at this level, and they're so exciting, they're so aggressive. But in that scenario, I would have liked him to turn late and look at the footy. So it's okay to look at the eyes of the forward, but then you've got to turn late to make sure you're looking at it to avoid the infringement.
He's in motion, but it's not exactly at full speed on the outer wing at the moment, as Wilson, who is just playing the game inside the contest this season. He's first in the VFL, the 23-year-old from Heidelberg. He's 10th in the league for handballs and 7th for loose ball gets, and he's involved once again with his tackle over the top of Cooper Lord. We'll get to Andrew McCormack, our boundary rider, today in a moment for a bit of news that's floating around footy this Sunday.
Kick goes out to the punt road wing, and sliding in is Sam Durden. Decent start from the Blues, who might be sitting on the bottom of the ladder, but far more competitive than their record might suggest, as Monahan comes to the bench. And there's McMahon. We've spoken about the fine season he's having. Quick play on. Opening goal, Blues. So Cooper Lord kicks his first goal in a Carlton jumper, and his first goal at VFL level. Good start here from Carlton. So Carlton might sit bottom of the ladder lid, but only 2 of their 10 losses by more than 16 points have been competitive. And here's Cooper Lord kicking his first goal in a Carlton jumper and at first VFL level.
Oh, it's pretty exciting, isn't it? Those mid-season draft prospects, we've got a few playing today, and that's just a brilliant finish by the youngster there, and he'll be wrapped with that. That's a great start to this second game. I know that he played his first last week. Was that right, Jace?
Yeah, second for Carlton, 9th at VFL level today after starting the season at North Melbourne.
Been stellar wherever he's played. A couple of games in the Young Guns series against Vic Metro and Vic Country in the under-18s, and also had played some footy with the Sandy Dragons. Free kick Tigers. Oliver Hayes-Brown will take it. He had Smith sliding past, but Carlton a little bit more awake to it. Nice kick from Hayes-Brown to take ground. Cumberland tried to work his way to the front. He had Lewis Young to deal with, and that left the door ajar for Dom McQuay, who's indecisive. Pops it back to the experience of Durden, who was on the back foot as he kicked. Cunningham marks. Green had a hand on him. Into the centre it goes. Hayes-Brown just popped it up to Wilson, who was casual. His kick impacted. Durden against George, had an air swing. Blues with support. Marr to the outside. Hogg can gather. Go deep. Lemmy's in the right spot. Bodies Brindley and trampolined off his chest. Brindley, McCarthy, Tresize, cool heads in the Tiger defence. Johnson back to McCarthy as the Tigers try and motion around the wing by hand. Now Coulthard, chain of hand passes. Popped out by Scott, who's been impressive thus far. Wilson fighting for it. They just continue to take yardage to the Tigers. Lewis Young got a shin to it. Lockie Young has to deal with it. He'll be closed down.
That's what you'll see all day from the Tigers, just that ballistic ball movement, trying to get forward territory. And for Carlton, it's important that they press up and come forward and alter that here. You can see going inside 50, Lemming got the beautiful body position, but would have liked him to take that out in his hands. Cunningham
hauls it in one-handed. Marr in there scrapping for the Blues. Ball pops out. Here is Cunningham. It's tidy. Ramshaw to Prout. Now Binns cuts it inside. Young, little flip to Cunningham, didn't work. Socket off the ground by Ramshaw. Made life difficult for Prout. Now it's a Quay's problem. He's surrounded. Cumberland picks up the football with strength, powers past 2. Well played, Noah Cumberland. Floats a kick inside 50. Excellent start from Noah Cumberland. Mo Yassine can pop it over the top. Liam George can dribble it through for a goal. Nicely worked from the Tigers. Good power on show from Noah Cumberland.
A brilliant play here by Noah Cumberland thanks to the truck assist replay. You can see he breaks 1, 2, 3 tackles, and that just means that Carlton is sucked into that contest and he can get free. And that's a brilliant inside 50 kick there from Cumberland. He needs to start to accumulate more footy at senior level, and that's a great start here for this VFL side.
8th goal this season for the product of Muralbark in Melbourne's East. We'll get to Macca in a moment on Rob Monahan's condition. All matters footy news. Murkoff gets through Hayes-Brown. Clean pick-up from Johnson, who'll be shut down by a couple of Blues. Macca, good afternoon.
Breaking news from the Cats, their boys. Tyson Sengaloo, 5-year deal is official, so he's locked down to the Cats until 2020-29. Rob Monahan, he looks okay, just a right knee knock, but he'll come back on eventually.
Thanks, Macca. More from you throughout the course of our broadcast. Green inside 50. Free kick will go against Sam Durden in the way of another of the mid-season rookie pickups in Campbell Gray. There is Rob Monahan on screen getting ready to get back into it. Liv, what did you see in the build-up there for the Tigers?
Well, they've just been clinical from inside to outside at the moment, and they've been looking at lowering their eyes inside 50, which is what I'm loving, because the Blues defence is almost trying to have one back to sag and try and create that awareness deep so that they can't get that deep ball inside 50 to their tall forward. So brilliant work there by Richmond.
14-9 for the season for Campbell Gray. 10 of them as a bomber. 5 of them as a Tiger.
Rob Monaghan back into the action for the Blues.
A 195-centimetre forward from Keilor. Nick McGowan's helped put the polish on him in recent years. We see great execution on the truck assist replay, Jace. We've been talking about this for a decade now, but they don't all get ready at the same speed, and he's living proof of it.
Absolutely. Great to see clubs being far more awake to local footy and VFL footy. It's a genuine avenue to find talent. Austin Johnson. Nice pick up from Garner. Tigers having a good couple of minutes here. Steely Green inside 50. And here he is again, Campbell Gray.
So this is a guy who was the most improved player in Keilor's thirds in 2021. He then won the same award in the senior team the following year, and then played in a senior premiership at Keilor in the Essendon District League last year. Right now, he is climbing his way towards an AFL debut.
Yeah, his trajectory is heading in the right direction. He's still just 20 years of age. For his second of the opening term. Great start for Campbell Gray. The Tigers lead by 2 straight kicks. And they bring him to the bench. Yeah, great.
Well, Campbell, what a great mark there, thanks to the truck assist replay. A brilliant start by this youngster. We've got both coaches coaching from the boundary line today. A great way to connect in with players, but make sure you can make decisions on the run.
Luke Power and Steve Morris. A pensive Luke Power as he tries to help the Blues find their way off the bottom of the Smithies VFL ladder. Aquay and Garner is an unlikely ruck combination. Ferronato was in close quarters. Cunningham provided Hogg an opportunity. He was fumbling at a crucial stage. Yassine hunting after it. It funneled its way out to Smith. Yassine arrived eventually, toes the line, and the Tigers are away again. Clarkson, Tresize, Guiney almost under pressure from Lemmy. There was enough of a presence. That kick was shallow, and Binns could mark. Now with the breeze, Jackson Binns is in range. Carlton needing something after they kicked the first through Cooper Lord, and they've conceded 3 in 4 minutes since. Jackson Binns is averaging 25.5 possessions a game this season. The Blues VFL best and fairest and part of the team of the year last year. It's across the face and through the hands of McMahon. Jackson Binns is evidence of the depth that the Blues have got at the moment, Jace.
Just can't quite fight his way in and stay there. One AFL game this year, and it was a very brief sub-appearance. Quay at the front against Garner, tries to flip it to the back. Garner takes it on the ground, snaps it outside 50. Great mark, Logan Prout. This young man's shown some great signs this year. Back towards Aquay, off his fingertips. The Richmond defence will work it to the line through Coulthard.
Opportunity here for Carlton to have some forward half-time. They've got Lewis Young behind the footy, just making sure that they've got good depth down the ground. But here, a good chance to try and spread this contest here and get some speed through.
Quay and Garner go at it again. Quay at the front, there's Coulthard. Pops a handball. Tigers got some numbers. Caleb Smith rides the Binns tackle. Cunningham gives away a free kick in the process of getting Matt Clarkson to the line.
Shane O'Sullivan, closest to screen, footy veteran, key part of the Blues set up for a long time. Ninth of Matthew Cruiser to pop his head from outside the pole and actually show us that he's there. Aaron Hamill, also part of the Carlton coaching staff, watching on, of course. Huge game to look forward to this afternoon. There is Cruz, we can see you. Come away from the pole, Sammy. Huge assignment for the Blues this afternoon as they look to really consolidate their position in the upper reaches of the AFL ladder against the Tigers. Adam Chera back into the team, only strengthening their claims. Knocked away by Garner and got good purchase on it. Got the better of Yassine. Lord can dish. Marchbank to the running Ramshaw. Bought some space by Murkoff. Shepherd. Precise was playing in front. He thought he had enough of it. Eventually the umpire was cajoled into agreeing. Precise will tap short and find Harry Scott.
Goes wide to Caleb Smith. Blues have got lots of traffic down the line. Dow contested, not quite. Still there, Smith stands up and then driven over the line by Will White.
When the Blues play well, they make sure they don't allow their opposition to have a lot of uncontested marks. So that's something we saw the last couple of weeks with Carlton, is they let their team, the opposition team, chip their way down the ground. It's not enough pressure on the footy.
Murkoff worked underneath it by Garner, illegally. Alex Murkoff, big couple of months in his footy career. As the jostling for spots in the Carlton list continues to get tighter. As Nudge said, their depth has improved. Will White to sock it off the ground after fumbling, and that might work out okay for the Blues. Ferronado's pushed off his kick. Tigers defending strongly. Scott's kick not ideal. Lunging effort from Yassine. Can't get a finger on it. So it's out of bounds on the full.
There's a real disparity. It's 9 inside 50s to 5. It's about to become 10 here through Ramshaw. We'll explore that further in a moment. McMahon had to turn defender to knock it away. Got through the legs of Coulthard and then eventually out. They've barely had it inside 30 or with any real quality, the Blues.
Yeah, well, Richmond are the best rebound 50 team in the comp. You're playing one of the best defensive lineups there is in the VFL at the moment. But what they need to do is lower their eyes, and actually their forwards need to get on the move. At the moment, they're just standing around and they're just looking for an aerial ball.
10 inside 50s to 5, Nudge, but only 5 possessions apiece each inside the 50s.
Tigers doing their damage when they eventually get it in there. Scott missed the target.
Yeah, so it's 2-1 for the Blues. It's coming in, going straight back out, coming back in again, whereas Richmond, as you said, 5 inside 50s for 5 possessions and 4 scores.
Barely a mark amongst the likes of McMahon and Lemmy at this stage, who are the 2 key targets in attack. Liam McMahon starting the day, 5 goals adrift of Billy Gowers in the Frosty Miller medal races. Ned Carl rewrites the script.
What a quality goal that was.
Lib, let's have a look at how this unfolded on the truck assist replay. And well, the Richmond players haven't been watching our broadcast. Ned Carl devastating at stoppages. We saw him do this to the Bombers a couple of weeks ago at Windy Hill. They've got to know what they're up against.
Absolutely. Well, he just brilliantly sharked the tap there by Joel Garner, who's a midfielder. Who would have thought, being in the ruck? But brilliant there. That's exactly what they needed, a bit of speed through the stoppage.
Class finish from Ned Carl, formerly on Essendon's AFL list. Hayes Brown, handball, only as far as Austin Johnson, who's immediately tackled by Darcy Hogg, number 70 there, the son of 1995 Carlton Premiership player Matthew Hogg, has the football now. Taken to ground. Work off the tap. Carroll worked off his man, but can't get the hands free. Might almost come back to him here. Well done, Nelson. Somehow found his boot. Awkward one for Marr. Bounces to 50, but Tigers can clear towards the wing. It's a one-on-one contest. Coulthard will back his speed here. Ramshaw will try to run him down or at least corral him. Well done, Ramshaw. And in the end, almost created a turnover. Marchbank couldn't take it. Garnett has gritted his teeth and ran past Hogg. Coulthard goes short and finds Aussie Johnson.
Tigers haven't had it in their front half for a little bit. Joel Garner's having a busy game in the air and on the ground. Gray got up. Coulthard at the fall, decided to go the check side, and that was heading for platform 3.
Garner, just a brilliant player, isn't he? Able to create from a mistake, but able to give Richmond another opportunity to go inside 50. And that's when you know you've got a brilliant player on your hands, when someone like that can work hard and get over and make up for someone's mistake.
Been a good acquisition since crossing from Footscray's VFL team as Brindley gets up. Lemire pops free. Cooper Lord throwing around his weight in the tackle that was able to close down Cam Olden, who's had a good season at VFL level. 7 goals. But as is the nature of buys in the VFL and selection, sometimes he went back to his local club, Lee and Gather, a couple of weeks ago and had to play in the 2s against Moe.
Footy, great leveller. Farinado to Carroll. Still great for these guys to stay connected with their local footy clubs. Ramshaw to Durden. His kick not great for Lewis Young. Coming the other way hard was Collier, and what could have been an easy clearance for the Blues. Eventually they'll get out, but it was made a bit harder by the kick missing its target. Marchbank to the wing. Well done, Bauer comes in over the top. Jacob Bauer, one of just 4 Richmond players on their AFL list, to have not played AFL this year. He's had that quad injury for most of the season, but Richmond's injury list, even right now, sits at 29 combined VFL, AFL. That's just extraordinary.
The 2 emergencies for the VFL game today. Their football manager, Ollie Grant, telling us post-game that they've actually signed another player to the VFL list during the course of the week as they have to dig deep into their list. Nelson got it out as he was falling to Carroll. Knocked forward, only as far as Harry Scott, who sent it up and down. Lockie Young after it. Collier after him and got it along in his valiant attempts to put pressure on the Blues VFL skipper. Lockie Young retreats to Lewis Young.
You can see the Blues trying to go through the middle of the ground. That's where their first look is. Otherwise, they're trying to go open side.
Thomas working the mark on Marchbank. Nelson did well to recover. Popped the handball free for Durden to Lord, who's been busy. His kick smothered. Can the Tigers generate something? No, they can't. Lord in the spin cycle. He's just so good in the contest. Conditions that are tailor-made for the Blues, number 36. And their selection at pick 9 in the mid-season rookie draft.
So it's the Tigers by a goal. 23 minutes gone, opening term. 7 VFL's match of the day from Punt Road. We'll take you inside the MCG for Carlton and Richmond a little later on this afternoon in our Tigers Blues double header. Towards half forward, Brindley spoils it away from Moyer. McCarthy. Expansive kick to the outer side. Socket off the ground by George. Ramshaw. Well done by Green. Did really well. Got it to Collier. Davidson taken down by Monahan. Marchbank couldn't quite stick the tackle, but the pressure was enough to force the turnover to Aquay.
Yeah, great come-forward pressure there by Carlton. 2 players coming forward to tackle. Allowed that dump kick exactly where they had Aquay sitting ready to pounce.
Prout. Now to Durden. Corey Durden looking to fight his way back into the AFL team. Run from behind comes from Binns, who's just in perpetual motion, but that kick will be cut off by the experience and guile of Tom Brindley.
So Tigers have had the last 3 inside 50 since the Carl goal 6 minutes ago. Brindley, it's mostly Navy here. Gray tried to make a contest. Prout. Whistle. Cunningham had a look. He was running and takes advantage. Now McMahon sets himself. Great defence from Bauer. Had the front spot despite conceding centimetres. Brindley to Bauer. It bobbles around, back to Brindley. Work for the Tiger defence. Kapow! In comes Carroll over the top of Wilson. Gives away the free to the Tiger hardnut.
That's an incredibly hard position to be in as Bauer in front of his forward there, because you can be easily nudged under the ball there. But he did a brilliant job just to get a late hand up there.
It was a great extension, wasn't it? Coulthard flies over the top of his own man, McCarthy. Davidson on the ground. Dow drives the legs through the tackle. Coulthard off a step. McQuay has the set, will come from the back, and that's what you're talking about, Liv. Just nudge Gray under the footy.
Yeah, Quay's been brilliant. He's been sort of the general down there in that spare spot, intercepting the ball where he can.
Carroll to Lockie Young, to Will White, generally creative. Kicks towards the pocket. Caught behind Monaghan and cut off by Trezise.
That's the 12th inside 50 for Carlton. 8 going Richmond's way, but definitely needed to get a little bit more bang for their buck, Carlton, going inside.
They're still just going at 2-1. Liv, 12 inside 50s for 6 touches when they're in there.
Lewis Young, the flyer in the end to knock it out. Former Bulldog, who we saw kick a rare VFL goal in our last broadcast, or second to last broadcast match featuring the Blues when they went down to the Ants a couple of weeks ago. Of course, losses to the Bombers and the Sharks subsequent to that, but as has been the theme of their season, they've been in games but rarely singing the song. Murkoff, Carroll chucked it over his head. Lord got a knuckle to it. Cunningham, Brindley versus Moyer, and the Tigers can see it out. So margin at 6 points. Moyer and Lemmy yet to register a possession as Sam Durden gets some work done on the bench.
And that's the challenge for the Blues, getting it inside 50, but hitting up those forwards who are dangerous, but just can't get near it at the moment.
Yeah, they need to have more of a method when going inside 50. Some quick ball movement as well as some strong leads by their key forwards.
Credit to the Tigers. They've got numbers back and they've pressured well. Johnson's kick. Young might have been interfered with. In fact, they go the other way because he then laid a tackle on Collier when he didn't have the football. They come back to Nick Collier, 20-year-old. From Dramana. He spears it down the line. McQuay, such elevation, just glides through the air.
He's been great, and as I said before, great aerial presence, and being able to go up for every one of those balls and providing just that defensive pressure down there. But he's one that they need to steer clear, either changing the angle, going inside, away from Aquay there. 4
intercept marks in the first quarter. He's on world record pace.
Lewis Young down the line to Prout. And we've seen Aquay from when he first came in as a raw rookie in the VFL nudge, and he was a million miles away from it, but he's worked so hard on his game and he's really learned. That's a great grab from Bauer. Speaking of athletic aerialists.
Game 46 for Aquay today. Still only 22 years of age, so turnover. Bauer gave it back to Lord, who, as mentioned, has been busy. This will give him an equal game-high 8th touch. Brindley with strong hands. Both defences enjoying things when the ball's in the skies. Coulthard waiting for it. Brindley's kick just sucked wide with the wind, and he did well to clasp that despite the pressure from Binns in the end. Tiger number 26 having a good day of it thus far. This will be his 9th. He's only averaging 11.5 possessions a game. Cumberland looking for a fly. Quay won't get another intercept here. Knocked it to ground for Cunningham. Prout. And out.
The game really being played between the arcs at the moment. What I'd love to see is a few more handballs, a couple of chain outs from the congestion, because at the moment all teams are both doing is just kicking the ball, dumping it forward, but the conditions aren't actually that bad. They could be using their hands a little bit more just to create that overlap that we haven't seen yet in this game.
Tyke's doing a great job of just cluttering up the space in Carlton's forward 50 and then attacking off the back of it. Here's an opportunity. Green's taken down. Good strong tackle from Prout, because the Blues have got McMahon and they've got Moyer, and then they've got the likes of Carl and Durden at ground level, but they just need some separation.
Absolutely. They're all getting in each other's way. You can see here at this stoppage, so many numbers around the footy.
Tigers have done a great job at clogging it up. Ferronato run down with the rundown tackle, rather. and then wins the football himself. Somehow feeds it out. That was brilliant. Binns, can he hit a target? Durden gets the grab, despite the pressure from Caleb Smith. Binns is lurking. Lemmy might come off the bench to take the handball. In the end, he'll peel off.
This is where they're getting stuck here, this big long kick. Or
Durden from 51. And it trails left.
1 minute sign up on the Carlton bench, and Richmond had generated a spare with Tresize behind the footy. It was good use to find Durden, but he can't capitalise. Had, as you can see, more than enough opportunities in there. Forward 50. Lemmy and Cumberland were fighting at ground level. That allowed Garner to get up and get down. He's had a good first quarter. Former Port Adelaide player towards the line. Marchbank takes it. Luke Power telling him he's got to roll and go, given the state of the clock. Can they find a mark the Blues? Not if Garner can have anything to do with it. To ground level, Cunningham got a handball out. It's kicked wide by Bauer. Oh,
barrel time
from 70 metres out. It's sort of in the territory we saw Fletcher.
The ball is kicked.
Second quarter at Punt Road.
Jason's still confused by that.
I still don't think that's right. But anyway, Ramshaw to Murkov. Ball go inside 50 here for the Tigers. Lord to Binns. Carroll to Ramshaw. Now McMahon drops a mark he could have taken. He's got Ramshaw coming past. Tresize to Wilson. Down the line. Marchbank got rid of Yassine illegally. And it will follow that. We're saying the umpires, I'm sure, know the rules a lot better than I do.
You've been in footy a long time, Jace, so don't underestimate yourself.
Yeah, I do make mistakes weekly. Off the hands. Gets to the back. Here's a chance for the Tigers. Durden flips it in the Young direction. And it will be a throw-in adjacent to the behind post. Tigers by 5 points. Early going second term, part one of our Richmond-Carlton double header this afternoon. We'll take you inside the MCG for their AFL clash immediately after this game.
Hayes Brown and Murkov. Hayes Brown got the boot to it. Popped it out of bounds on the full. One thing that has been very promising through his stat line in the 2 VFL games so far is his capacity to get involved in general play. He's had 14 possessions in both his VFL outings so far, so he's not just at the ruck contest. Knocked away from McMahon, fighting for it, Tresize. Going without it, Monahan. Good to see him recover from that early knock. Wilson, George, evasive, tumbly kick, and another intercept mark for a Quay. They need to do something to neutralise his impact. Sam Durden. Johnson read the cues well. It was awkward for Cumberland. He copped a high one in the process and took out a nice chunk of the Swinburne centre turf. Smith from the back has got the range, but not the accuracy.
What they do need to do, Nige, is make sure they shift the angle on their kick. So if a Quay's setting up long down the line, you need to be able to get a handball receive and kick to the fat side of the ground, not kick to where a Quay is. So that's the decision-making they need to make when going inside 50.
Hogg to Marchbank. Ships it towards the wing. Lord, his target, did well. Got it down to Nelson. Carroll shrugs the tackle. Back to Hogg. Delicate kick towards Carl. Play on the call. And now a chance for the Tigers through Davidson. Tapped on cleverly into the path of Green from 51 metres. Goes for goal, but he slides it across the face. Another throw in that left forward pocket. So all Richmond early in the second. Tigers by 5 points. They're clinging to a spot inside the top 10. They've got 4 teams within a game of them, though, so a golden opportunity this afternoon to bank another 4 points.
And a couple of midday starts elsewhere in the Smithies VFL today that we'll get to shortly that will have an impact on those around them on the ladder. Lord got it out to Ferranato. George looking for a body, and in the end it's landed on Monahan's boot and it's out of bounds on the full without any doubt. There are the around the ground scores in the bottom right of your screen. So GMHBA Stadium, the Cats shading the Zebs at quarter time, and Werribee facing the Swans at Tramway Oval in Sydney, having the better of the first quarter there. Aquay again! This is a display from Aquay. Half a dozen intercept marks in a quarter and 4 minutes.
So Liam George there, exactly what I described before, went straight down the line to where Aquay was setting up to take the mark, and he's in red-hot form today, so don't kick it near him. But they need to get a handball receive on the corridor side and go fat side. That's what they need to do.
Durden. Marchbank over the top. It's a clever mark. We heard Luke Power talking about changing up the mechanics of their forward entries. Liv, what would you be suggesting?
Well, JC, we were talking about this during the break, but I'd love to see that forward half line start up. They need to move up at the contest a little bit more to give the likes of their deep forwards more of a chance to compete.
Yeah, it was very congested in there in the opening term. Tigers did a sensational job weathering the early storm. Coulthard down the line, but it's cut off by Prout. He slips in front of Davidson and takes the grab. Some very dark clouds you can see in the background, and round to the south and off to the west as well. So,
Hi, Macca.
Yes, sunshine at the moment, but might be some rain coming. McMahon juggles and marks right on 50. This might be a test of how strong the breeze is. Doesn't look too strong at the moment. Trees are not moving around too much. So McMahon will go back and have a ping from outside 50. As we mentioned earlier, having a great season as Carlton's #1 target up forward. He's kicked 27 goals, 9. This to give the Blues the lead. 52 out. Makes good contacts, but it just floats across the face.
Of course, spent a couple of years on Collingwood's AFL list. Caleb Smith considering whether it's Punt Road or the Yarra Park. He decides to head to the former as the Tigers look for a way out. Coulthard up early, no free kick. Davidson in space, out the back is Gray. That's how you get it over Dom Aquay. Gray missed the opportunity, got a boot to it. It was almost a spectacular miss, then goal. And we end up with a behind in quite fascinating circumstances.
I absolutely love what Campbell Gray did there. He made sure that he was making Aquay defend him, and what he did was he took a lot of depth on the ground and was able to get out the back there.
Lockie Young, high kick. That one drops almost vertical, so it does suggest the breeze is maybe a little stronger than we might realise. Trezise McMahon. McMahon held it without possession according to the umpire, so a free kick to Liam McMahon. To Xavier Marr. And here comes that rain. We can see it to the south, and it's rolling in, and here it comes. And the breeze is picked up as well, Macca.
Absolutely, it has. It's a really broadcast side now, so it's going to be a really tough ball hand to foot today. It's going to be just a slog, I think, for the next 20 minutes.
And is it blowing from right to left as we're looking at it?
It is. It's blowing to the left of screen. It's probably more to the broadcast side, so it's not all favouring the goals at the left-hand side of screen, but so certainly plenty of play, I think, on this broadcast side. And just on the ground, it is cut up a lot and very soggy on this interchange bench side, so that far side is the scoring side.
Yeah, okay. And that wind has really picked up, as we said, and the rain has suddenly just blown in. Gee, that came quick. We mentioned it only a couple of minutes ago. We could see it looming, and it has come rocketing in. The light level has plummeted. And Steve Morris goes for the hood.
This is VFL footy.
It's good old-fashioned local footy, isn't it?
Yeah.
Coulthard towards Marchbank. Here's Davidson. Tries to shape the kick. Look at the breeze grab that. And just blows it straight across, as Macca said. So it's blowing from the punt road side towards us, Macca.
Absolutely, so definitely towards that pocket. So if you're having a set shot, it's got to be at the right-hand post down that left end, and obviously vice versa at the end. But this scoring end definitely to the left-hand screen today.
Yeah, that set of flags on the punt road side of the ground certainly tell a story. Talk about it being local footy. We are currently moving our broadcast gear under a marquee to try and make sure we don't get electrocuted.
That'd be handy.
Wilson jumped into the tackle of Cunningham.
Now it's all about where the footy, so all the offense goes out the window. It's about getting territory, hand to foot, going forward.
And there are some very hardy souls on the outer side of the ground under the flags at scoreboard. We'll try and get a shot of them in a moment, but there have been plenty of people vacating that space. There are a couple still standing out there like statues in the rain. They've got ponchos. There's plenty of other people, like that gentleman there in front of the advertising hoardings, who are oblivious to the fact it's raining. No umbrella, just a hat and hope. If you can't sell a poncho today at the MCG, you never will.
What an unbelievable squall has just come screaming through from off in the distance to here.
Footy-wise, Richmond by 5 points. We're goalless through 9 minutes of the second quarter. Richmond's 3 goals in a quick spurt and a second in the opening term, opening this up. Davidson inboard. Marchbank knocked it away from Oldham, and it's Cumberland taken to ground in the tackle. It comes free eventually. The boundary umpire losing his footing. Garner, tackle might have lingered. White trying to get it out. That's well done by Guiney to present and take it on the chest.
In the wet, the ball's always going to skid out the back, so Carlton need to be careful here to defend out the back of the contest.
Guiney thumps it long. Really long. Look at the breeze grab that, and it just pulled it left. As we said, if you kick him to goal at that end of the ground, it's going to go hard right to left due to the breeze. That was a great example of just how powerful that wind is at the moment.
10 inside 50s to Richmond. Absolutely incredible in this quarter. Only 1 to Carlton.
Young thumps it long. Lemmy in that pack. Moyer as well. Trezise goes to ground. Monahan lays the tackle on Garner and sticks it.
So with the breeze, they've been able to get some great forward half ascendancy, but I'd love to see them capitalise on the scoreboard.
Murkov, Hayes Brown, nice hands from Davidson to Garner. The wind's going to grab that. Oh, that's a great sliding effort. Oh, into the fence hard goes Gray, and the mark's been paid. Great commitment from Campbell Gray, but he'll take a second to just compose himself. Thankfully, he's okay as he went sliding hard into the concrete and the fence. That is great commitment. Not sure if it was still in play or not, but
we'll count it.
We'll count it. He steps around and almost kicks the goal, just misses left.
And after 2 goals in the opening quarter for the former VFL Bomber. Young, desperate effort from Gray on the mark. Lemmy's free, gets hands to it, and will be given it on the second bite.
Great mark there by Lemmy, particularly in the wet conditions. That's exactly what they needed to alleviate the pressure they've been experiencing for the last 5 minutes in D50.
His first possession. Moyer can't impact, and McCarthy and Trezise will see it out. Well, what a day to be watching footy inside your house with the heater on, the fire going, and a double header of Richmond and the Blues. You get this for another 2.5 quarters, and then you do not have to move, with the same teams meeting at the MCG. Another matchup in their storied history. Carlton trying to continue to maintain their run to back-to-back finals appearances, and Adamuze's plucky Richmond outfit. They played well in these conditions a couple of weeks ago against the Cats at GMHBA Stadium. What can they produce this afternoon in a home fixture for the yellow and black? It's free now for Lord as Carlton are looking to kick their third. Clarkson keeps Moyer at bay.
That's Carlton's second inside 50 for the quarter, so important here to set up behind the ball so they can keep it in there and get some forward half pressure.
McQuay the tap. Lord the tackle. Nowhere for McCarthy to go. Cunningham and Moyer. Cunningham picks up the football. Oldham gets rid of him. Umpire says holding the ball. As Wilson comes away. Awkward one for Yassine. Slips through his fingers. Nelson tries to flip it to Young. Crowd in there working, lays a tackle. Umpire says play on. Aquay through his legs. Awkward to control now. Well done by Lockie Wilson towards half forward. Durden, that's a really important mark and a good one in the conditions. Sam Durden holds back the attack. for the Blues. Rain coming in at 45 degrees in Durden's face with the breeze. Garner and a quay over the top. Down it goes.
The Carlton have taken 13 intercept marks so far.
Then pretty much all 13 would be a quay nearly, would they?
6 of them. Great job in the conditions. 2 each to Sam Durden and Logan Prout.
Yeah, they've definitely been holding off Richmond's forward half game just from those intercepts.
A quay to Lord, who is revelling in these conditions. Mark to Johnson as Caleb Smith landed awkwardly. Johnson dances around Carl, darts it inside 50. It'll skid and skid out eventually.
But it has been one of those games, Nige, where we're seeing it being played between the arcs. So the defenders are getting a lot of the footy and the forwards haven't been leaning up as much or taking those contested marks. So what they do need to do in these conditions is play to the advantage of their forwards. So if they're smalls, get it on the ground. And if the talls, get them in a nice spot to their advantage.
Kicked out by Murkoff. You've seen Monahan. Whistle. Hold will go the way of the Blues defence, who can take full advantage out of their back half.
Young with the Lewis variety. Squares it to Durden. Monahan offers at 50. Durden will go shorter than that to be safe to Prout. Prout pokes one down the line. Good run from Ferronato into the hole. Blues try to work it up the middle of the ground. That's a dangerous kick, though. Yassine can cut it off for the Tigers. Then he left it behind. Clean hands, Cunningham. Lord and Moyer ran into each other. Tigers get the ball as a result. Garner, clever bouncing kick towards Johnson. Proud in there to put pressure on. Binns as well. Moyer was taken high. Umpire blindsided. Lord, Ferronato. Murkoff finds his boot. Kick towards half forward. Carl off his chest. Well done, Brindley. Quick kick from Bauer. Bin stands underneath it. Garner over the top. Taken by Cunningham. He'll drive it back inside 50. McMahon works on Bauer. Gets to the back. Guiney ripped off his kick. Sliding in, couldn't take it, is White. Coming away is Caleb Smith. Pops a handball over the top to Steely Green. Green can go inside 50. 2 on 2. Young goes back with the flight. Durden there as well. And Durden floats it. Coulthard. In over the top comes Young. Ball still there. George. Just over the outstretched hands of Hayes Brown. Binns. Bounces it through the legs of Ferronato. Nelson. He's dispossessed. Scott goes for goal and misses.
So the margin's 8 points. Xavier Maher and Lockie Wilson check back in for their respective teams. Durden to Young, he took a divot as he was running through the hands of Monahan. Wilson after it as he returns. Good commitment, Clarkson. Monahan slipped from his grasp. Pulling a crisis with Smith. Smothered by Monahan. Smith back after it again to the heaviest section of the Swinburne centre, so much so that Hayes Brown fell over. Dow after it. Eventually got it. Then it comes free in the Marchbank tackle. Dow fisted it out. Bauer wears contact from both sides. Durden knocked him to ground. Monahan piled in over the top. Who's the free kick going to? It's holding the ball. That's what the initial thought was, and that's confirmed by umpire Sam Herford in the end. Binns works the arc for Carroll. Can Carlton find an avenue to their third? Just as the rain subsides, Carroll pops it. Moyer for the fly. Didn't quite have the hands in the conditions. Still work to do for the Tigers. Maher comes out to George, who wants to retreat. Looking for Bauer. Ferronato. War one high. And Lib, it's the sort of day where if you're in first, eventually you'll probably wear a free kick. Exactly.
In these conditions, particularly when it's slippery, you can slide in and get someone high. So if if you get in first, as Carlton did there, it's important in winning those critical contests today, particularly at ground level. Now we're seeing two types of game play out here. Nearly 50 marks going Carlton's way, 19 to Richmond. So Carlton are liking the marking tempo game, whereas Richmond are using their handballs, the forward handballs, to clear out their forward line and get forward. So at the moment, Richmond's game plan working better.
Yet to kick a VFL goal, Christian Ferranato has kicked 6 for Greensborough in the Northern Football League this season to bring the margin back to 2 points. He's got it. No, it's touched on the line. Good work from the Tiger defence. James Tresice has been a bit of a general down there so far.
Thought he had it, didn't he? Gave it the double fist pump. And just fell short in the end. So still goalless in this second term between the two teams. There it is, and not quite. McCarthy to the wing. Young had a piece of the jump up, spotted by the umpire. Liam Thomas will get the freak. In fact, Ollie Hayes-Brown will get the... No, he's going back to Thomas. That's right the first time. Some confusion. Thomas will have it. We'll go short and give it to to McCarthy, rather. And Brindley breezing by. Instead, he'll go long and high. Tough one to mark. Over the top came Young with the fist. Ball flips in the Carroll direction. Shrugs the tackle, finds his boot. It's going to sit up on the breeze. Moyer will come over the top of Tresice. Well done, Ferranato at ground level, but then nowhere to go once he hits the deck. Squeezed the kick through was Brindley. Maybe this will work for Dow. Can he find someone at 50 by foot? Green, back to Dow. Pops a handball. This is Scott. Davidson. Tigers have done well to create some space. Now the chance to finish from George. That's a really clever team goal from Richmond.
Well, I've been really impressed with Richmond's ability to get forward half-time thanks to the Max's Tyres replay. But what they've been able to do is be able to clean out their forward line and get one-on-ones deep. And this is a brilliant example of just being able to nail a brilliant goal. But you can see the one-on-ones close to the square, and that's been something that's been the highlight of their game compared to Carlton's at the moment. It's very clogged inside Carlton's forward 50.
George 2, Gray 2. Our first goal in over a quarter. Richmond with a game-high 13-point buffer as Joel Garner's put the headset for us on the bench. Joel, we're seeing you in the ruck today. Is this something that's a new part of your arsenal?
It is. I haven't played ruck since I was about 14, so it's a bit of a new one for me, but just trying to help out where I can and play multiple roles, so being very flexible today.
Is that just out of necessity, given the injuries in the camp at the moment and that Ollie Hayes-Brown's only playing his 3rd VFL game?
I think so. Ollie's been doing such a great job for us, but I think we, to keep Campbell Gray out forward, he's kicked a couple already today. He's such a pivotal player up there for us. So if I can give him a chop out and I can get beat up in there so he can do his thing, I'm happy to do that for him.
Joel, how have the conditions affected the way that you're playing today? Because obviously you've had a brilliant start, but how has it changed?
It just turns into a surge game from now. I think getting the ball forward and territory behind it, that's sort of what we're going to start to do. As you've seen the last couple of plays here, we're trying to get it as deep as we can to put a bit of pressure on the Blues. So getting it forward is going to be the key for us, I reckon.
Joel, thanks for your time. We appreciate it. Let's get back into it.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Thanks to Joel Garner. Some great insights there.
What great leadership that he's basically saying, I'm prepared to sacrifice myself physically for the team, playing the ruck role at 184 centimetres.
And on a day like today, when it's this chilly, tomorrow he's going to wake up and know all about it. These tough conditions, really chilly here in Melbourne, and the rain's blown through as well. Free kick for a hold of the jump. It's going to go to Alex Murkov. We're in a time on in the second term. Tigers with the only goal of the quarter. It's given them a handy 13-point lead in these conditions. Kick was intended for Hogg. Dow lost his footing, has some support. Wilson pops a handball over the top. Well done, Murkov. Affected the kick. Olden, he's taken down from the back. Carroll couldn't control it. Wilson, Hayes-Brown into space. Dangerous here. Well done, Olden. Tapped it on. Gray gives it back. Steely Green snaps goal. What another great team goal from the Tigers. Richmond playing smart football, Liv, just keeping the ball moving inside 50, creating for their teammates, and that's 2 goals in a row from the same method.
Yeah, absolutely. They're just being able to create a bit of chaos inside forward 50, and it's actually freaked out the Carlton defence because they're not sure how to compete with these small forwards. Their 58 ground ball gets to 41, so they've been good on the ground inside forward 50 and have been able to get those clever goal sneak and their small forwards involved.
The G's getting it done for the Tigers. Gray and George with 2 each, now Green. Anyone's going to handle the conditions at Steely Green. If you get struck by lightning as a sailor, this is a snack. Ball inside 50, again for the Tigers. George has already got 2. Creative this time to chip. Aquay, bundled out of it by Cumberland. He can be miraculous at times. He's taken down by his opposing 38 here in Durden.
Jace, what I love about that, just to add to that point, is they've taken Carlton's intercept game out, and the way that they've done that is they've been keeping the ball along the ground. So they've taken Aquay's intercept marking game out. Nige, you said 13 intercept marks. Well, we haven't seen many in this last 10 minutes.
Gray now behind the ball with a fist on it. Monahan knocks it forward. Wilson with that lower centre of gravity, but Farinado popped it out to Cunningham. Shares it over the top, McMahon. There's nothing forward here for the Blues. The inside 50 contest is this one. Collier away from Nelson, went off the ground in the end. It was a smart call. Big turning circle you're seeing to Collier, and suddenly defence turns into attack for the Tigers. Cumberland wears the body on Durden, and the score of the 38s at the moment is Durden 2, Cumberland 0.
So Richmond by 19 points as we hit the 26-minute mark. Second term, 7 VFL's match of the day. Part 1 of our Richmond-Carlton old school Rezzies in a seniors doubleheader. Kick to the wing, big pack of players. Great elevation over the top from Brindley.
Speaking of old school, how's the Tiger royalty that's been making its way through the balcony where we're calling from today? Neil Baum at the start of the game, and at the moment, Emmett Dunn, great Tiger and a Springvale Premiership player in the VFA, and the great Barry Rawlings, a part of our studio audience.
Former Hawk, moved to the Tigers. He was a star in their 1980 Premiership. Luke Nelson. Carroll. Well done. Traffic just left him in the end. He spun away from it all. Farinado steps inside. High kick. Good defensive work again from the Tigers. Cunningham lays the tackle on Clarkson. It's been the story of Carlton's season for all their efforts and inside 50s. They just haven't quite been able to put it on the scoreboard when it matters. Can Murkoff come up with something here? Carl swings it back towards the square. Moyer needs to get involved. Yet to have a touch in the first half. Binns. And out. It's been heavy sledding for the Blues forwards. Just 2 touches for Lemmy. None for Moyer in the first half. Inside 50 count. 30-24 in favour of the Tigers. They lead it by 19 points.
Lockie Wilson lapping up what Melbourne's delivering. He has a game-high 16 possessions. Murkoff slaps it forward. Dow after it. It popped up at just the right time. Marr strips him. And this is a huge opportunity for the Blues vice-captain from a tight angle to try and kick their first since Ned Carl at the 18-minute mark of the opening quarter. He's going to go the snap. But be careful not to belly the ball and kick it into this breeze. None of it was on point a 28-minute second quarter. Just a couple of goals. It was a real slog through.
Quickly, a key watch for the Blues. Obviously, the MCG with Jesse Motlop and Mark Pitnet both taken out of this game. Perhaps some whispers that Tom de Koning might be quite 100%. So whether they need the 2 rucks, the Blues in the AFL today, we'll find out shortly. Of course, live coverage straight after this game.
Thanks, Macca. Carroll inside 50 for the Blues. McMahon. Just what the doctor ordered for Carlton.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great start. That's exactly what Luke Powell would have wanted. A great clearance, but then a kick to the last line to their key forwards who haven't really had the chance to get involved today. So that's a brilliant start there.
Dry conditions for now after rain slammed the Swinburne Centre for 20 minutes in the second quarter. And the Blues haven't kicked one since the 18-minute mark of the first. McMahon's got it. Lib, as we see Carroll to McMahon on the Crown replay, they might be bottom of the ladder and have won one game, but they are stacked with talent on their AFL and VFL lists. We saw it in a 7-goal sample in the first quarter at Windy Hill a couple of weeks ago. They can make a charge. Oh,
they absolutely can, and they need to. They need to get a couple of wins for all the good effort that they're putting in against some of the top sides.
Alistair Clarkson watching on. His son Matthew in action for the Tigers out there this afternoon, wearing number 77. Garner ripped off the football. And Vice says play on. Dow spun through, couldn't take it with him. Garner dispossessed. Cunningham commits the body. Dow tries to drive through the tacklers.
In many respects, now that it's dried up, it almost suits Carlton's game plan, which is the kick mark game plan. 50 marks to 23 this game. And then when it got wet and wild, it was Richmond that got on top with their ground ball game.
Garner does the hard work again. Ramshaw's kick's going to get cut off by Wilson, who had more of the football than any other player in the first half. Campbell Gray, impressive. He's 55 from goal. Winds up now. Into the breeze. Does he get it there? I think he does. Durden didn't make contact. It's a goal. Campbell Gray's got 3. Great quick response from Richmond.
Well, a great quick response there from Richmond thanks to the Crown replay. Campbell Gray playing in front of his opponent. I absolutely love that. And here, he was in the spot to spoil and just missed. Maybe a clanger for next weekend. But a brilliant finish there by the youngster. That's 3 goals. And Steve Morris to be very, very happy with the way he's performing. But he's been brilliant today, the youngster.
Second time he's kicked 3 goals at VFL level. First time as a Tiger as Hayes Brown and Murkoff wrestled for it. The clearance will come by Garner. Blues from the back though. Neat mark in the end from McCarthy, who was able to outpoint Monahan. Tom McCarthy plays his local football with height in the Southern League. On the right, McQuay in the front spot was nuisance value in defence in the first half with half a dozen intercept marks. How's the pickup and the manoeuvre out of traffic from Hayes Brown? Cumberland on it, spinning, not able to get free of Carroll. Collier's got several Blues to beat. Ramshaw shoved him into the ground. It was unnecessary. And the Tigers can extend the margin here, potentially beyond 4 goals. Nick Collier played in a premiership alongside a former Tiger and Jake Arts at Dramana on the Mornington Peninsula last year. Has had a pretty good time of it in his 8 VFL matches so far since making his debut back in round 6 against Coburg. Goals in his last 2 games. And how quickly the McMahon goal's forgotten. This Richmond VFL outfit at the moment, they are greater than the sum of their parts. What a super job they're doing in the face of major injury adversity.
Hey, boys. 29 players on Richmond's combined injury list between AFL and VFL nudge. But this team, this Richmond VFL team, have just found a way to get it done week after week.
Just 9 AFL listed players today, Jace. 69 games in the highest level between them. They're right now in a wild card spot with 9th position on the ladder. That's 69 games. Thompson, Dow and Noah Cumberland are responsible for 55 of them. And there's this group of VFL players who've all made their debuts this year, like Collier, Davidson, Wilson, who have brought so much to the table in their first 10 games.
Yeah, what they've achieved this year in the VFL has been nothing short of extraordinary. Hayes Brown, such a tight, committed group. Beautifully coached by Steve Morris.
And the thumping against Sandy is a real outlier, and that was just off the back of being completely threadbare and meeting a Sandy team that was stacked on that day.
Hogg to Prout, Moya into the back of Bauer was awkward. It's been a quiet day for Ashton.
Hate to say it, Jason, that's
Let's have
the
a touch.
Darcy Moore, Christian Petrarca knee in that unexposed area between the hips and the rib cage.
So Ashton there just apologising to Jacob Bauer, who'll come off to try and catch his breath. And yeah, there it is, knee right in the side, right in the kidney area. Apologises immediately. Brindley holds up in the breeze. Prout, not quite. Carroll keeps it alive, feeds it back to Lewis Young, who then loses his footing. Manufactures a kick brilliantly to Murkoff. Some sort of party trick from Lewis. McCarthy, Trezise, Caleb Smith. Pressure came from Durden. Aquay, over the top came Young. Front and centre was Dow. High kick inside 50, awkward one to mark. Aquay got a fist to it. Cumberland can't keep it alive. So you have a look at Carlton. Carroll's had 14. This is Lewis Young in the manufactured kick.
Effective kick on the stats coding isn't going to fully tell the story of that possession.
Carroll's had 14, Sam Durden 13, Lord 13, Binns 12, Cunningham 12. The leading ball getters, all AFL players for the Blues this afternoon.
Yeah, I'd love to see a little bit more from their VFL listed players and play on a little bit quickly to try and get over this Richmond defence.
Coulthard, cool to Cumberland, who spaces the kick along the arc. Well done by White to be coming down as part of
There we go.
forward line and put some heat on. Ferranato to Carl, who marked. Trezise over-committing, and Moya is involved. It's been a rare sighting.
That was exactly what Carlton needed to do there. The handball received, which they haven't been doing all day. They've been more opting to kick to a teammate, but there it just got speed on the ball and exposed Richmond's defence.
He's a talent, Ashton Moya. He only averages 10 possessions a game, but he's yielded 7 for this season, the 19-year-old from Plimpton and Glenelg. Can he get hot in the second half? That'll start things.
remarkable as the Blues get one back through Ashton Moyer. It was his knee to Jacob Bauer's ribs that seen him off into the rooms in immense pain. He came off, was on his knees, on his haunches for about 60 seconds, couldn't actually stand up, and then was eventually walked into the rooms with the help of the doctor. So we'll wait for an update, but in all sorts of pain.
Yes, he's had a bad year. Jacob Bauer come back from the quad injury. As we head boundary side, Will White joins us. Will, what have you made of the game so far? It's felt like 3 different games in one with the weather conditions.
Yeah, I know, it's tough at the moment. It's actually got a bit better now, so if we can move the ball a bit better, we'll just try and get territory early, but we're looking good at the moment. We've just got to get the ball forward.
Has that been Luke Power's message at half-time to try and open things up a little?
Yeah, we'll try and get up inside a bit and, move the ball a bit better. First half, we just felt like we were just overusing the hand, so just get it forward and just pressure from there and let the game come to us.
Your own development this year, we've enjoyed watching you play. Have you enjoyed your time in the VFL?
Yeah, I love it. I always get starstruck being at Icon Park, just such great facilities. I love every moment of it. Just try and get better each week, and yeah, just loving it and just taking it step by step.
Will, you were part of the defensive piece of play that generated that last goal to Ashton Moyer. How has that been something you've been trying to add to your game? Because we know what you're able to do when you've got the ball in hand.
Yeah, I guess I'm just trying to get others into the game, and we just really look to, we have great runners off the half-back, so just get them involved and get Ashley involved. He's a great player and he's going to develop, so just keep getting around in the game, and hopefully, yeah, we can get the win, so just keep working hard.
Well, we're really enjoying watching you develop this season. Thanks for your time. We'll let you get back into it.
Thanks, boys, everyone.
Will White, really classy young player, the sort of guy, nudge again, that you could look at and say, if he keeps developing at this trajectory, ends up on AFL recruiter watch lists.
Spot on, 15 goals for the season, second only to Liam McMahon, who's second in the competition for most goals at the moment. He's been really productive at ground level, and we saw the effort he put on at half-back to generate that Moyer goal.
And Liv, we know in modern footy that small forward who can push up and do things up the ground as well, they're just vital.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and you think of the likes of like a Shea Bolton who can play in the midfield but then also up forward. They're really important link players between that midfield and forward line, so it's great to see such a young player have great humble views on being an icon marker. No, it's nice, isn't it? It's great. It's great.
It's great. We talked about earlier this is the link between local footy and the elite level, and it is really important for that, and it's great for these guys to stay grounded, remember where they've come from, and nudge going back and playing some local footy. You said playing in the seconds at your local team just keeps you grounded. Yeah, it does, and I think it's great that both Richmond and Carlton are giving opportunities to guys from all over the state, frankly, an opportunity to be part of an elite program. These are positively balmy conditions for Will White, who's played his footy at South Warrnambool in the Hampton League and the Greater Western Victoria Rebels. Have a recall of the boundary throw-in. Hasn't Joel Garner looked at home at his first look at the ruck in a decade? We've seen teams doing this at AFL level as well, putting a smaller ruck in there to basically just become the extra mid once it hits the ground. The Tigers were the pioneer of it in their first premiership in 2017 with Sean Grigger, Tiger and Blue, adopting that role in support to Toby Nankervis, who will play game 150 at AFL level later this afternoon. Zach Williams to play his 150th for the Blues. And Jacob Blight to make his debut this afternoon. That's coming up straight after this game. We'll take you next door to the MCG for Richmond and Carlton. Jacob Blight getting quite the welcome to AFL football with Charlie Curnow and Harry Mackay to deal with in the Blues forward line. Ma was dragged down. Garner, it's wide, hustling after it as you've seen, who will see it out.
Both teams playing with a spare behind the ball, and that's what we've seen all day, that intercept marking from both sides. But it's interesting, Carlton actually need to win this game and they need to score. So whether they push that spare up behind the contest to provide a little bit more run, because it's that real balance between, do you want to have that defensive coverage or do you want to win the ball? Especially in this quarter, because they've got the breeze behind them. Exactly.
It's chipped out to Green. Garner taken down, or it's effective? No, it's a throw from Garner. So Aquay, his opponent in the ruck at the moment, wins the free. He's had one of his best VFL games today, Dom Aquay. March back to Young, who had to deal with the sun. Who would have thought that in the second quarter? Hits Ma. Handball immediately to Lockie Young. Tumbling ball. Taken by Lemmy. Spun as he kicked. Man, it did a funny bounce. Oh. Funny if you're a Blue.
Here's a glimpse of what he's capable of. Lib, when you're looking at young tools on your list, you're looking for glimpses on the Crown replay. And there's a glimpse from Harry Lemmy of what he's capable of.
Oh, it's a big glimpse, isn't it? It was a fantastic take by such a tall 200-centimetre athlete, but then to spin around, break the tackle and nail one from about 45 metres along the ground, that's a pretty decent goal.
Very impressive from the youngster. He and Hudson O'Keefe, two young players in this Carlton lineup. Hudson out injured at the moment, but two young tools the Blues are very bullish about. It'll take time, as we know. You're just looking for those glimpses of development, and that was impressive from Lemmy. Spoiled away from Wilson. Tigers looking for another quick response here. Dow pops the handball. Kick smothered before it could get to 50, and away comes Hogg. Neat kick. Ma paddled to his own advantage. Blues starting to open the game up now, as you mentioned, Lib. That's the way they've got to play. Guiney beats the first tackler. Took too long. Umpire said play on. Maybe a chance for Lord. McMahon. Blues for another. Hogg misses the opportunity.
Don McQuay on the bench. Very productive this afternoon with 7 intercept marks. James Tresize playing a similar role in the Richmond defence. Runs and hand pass to Brindley in the shadows of the Jack Dyer stand. Garner did well to work his way to the front. Lewis Young stayed at the back, flipped it forward. White against Smith.
Ooh, dragged it in.
Benefit of the doubt going the way of the Tiger number 49, who made his AFL debut in round 12 against the Cats. He was an AFL emergency for today's game. Murkov with the height on Garner. Johnson nearly goes to win his own hand pass. Blues wanted deliberate, not forthcoming as there's Jacob Bauer on screen in dialogue with the doctors, and you'd imagine that conversation is Jacob Bauer wanting to go back on and the medical staff being very cautious.
Yeah, he looks pretty sick, doesn't he?
Garner, great effort, intent on Murkov to win it, and the follow-up as well, and that little tap. All the things that add up as your seams rolled in the Ramshaw tackle.
And there goes Jacob Bauer back into the rooms. Just see the look on his face, just had that resigned look that his day is done. Hopefully nothing too serious, but did look a little nasty. Carroll takes the advantage, explodes away, inside 50. The time's now for the Blues. Can McMahon haul it in? He can't. Durden at the back. George has been impressive. Tresize doesn't hit the kick. This might work for the Blues. Nelson back the other way. Now for Hogg. Hogg goes inside 50. Lemmy comes out to mark. 201 centimetres, best part of 100 kilos. We've seen him snap a great goal. Now he's got a chance to go back and kick a set one.
Well, he's actually getting used now because of the ball movement outside the 50's been a lot cleaner and a lot more balanced. There's a good balance between handball and kick. And you can see there, instead of going for the extra handball, they've gone straight in to their tall in Lemming. And it's just opened up that forward line for them. And they've had nearly 3 or 4 scoring shots this term alone because of that capability of making sure they can hit the right targets inside 50.
Important shots these for the Blues. They missed one through Hogg moments ago. Lemmy to make it 1-kick game. They've got the breeze in the third term. Feels like the time is now for Carlton. Lemmy with the breeze at his back. And he's pushed it across the face.
It's a bit of a stone in the shoe of Harry Lemmy's game in recent weeks. 1-1 in this quarter. He had 3-7 in his last 3 coming in. That after starting the season in defence. Carlton pressing as Smith clears. Durden in front of Gray. Didn't mark it. The Blues have got numbers in the right spots. Perenato. Green contesting it, so no 50 as Carroll marks and plays on And chips neatly. And the Blues working well in tandem. Something that I'm sure Durden and Carroll have spent a lot of time working on. Durden was on the lead, reactive to Carroll's movement, and will get a chance to kick his first.
What was brilliant about that was the defender didn't actually realise that he could possibly turn left and kick on the left boot. So Jack Carroll there, brilliant acceleration out of that turn.
The margin had got to 25 points after Richmond kicked 2 to answer Liam McMahon's early goal. Durden, nothing good about the build-up there. Not even a score in the end, and no Carlton player there to contest it.
Oh, that's going to annoy Luke Power. Richmond just walk it out of defence. Well done by Young, gets it to the line, but that's a cardinal sin.
It is, and Luke Powell wouldn't have been happy with that at all. He needed to have Lemming on the line or a Tall or someone competing just to smash it over.
Coulthard. Run from behind is Trezise. Slips away from Lockie Young. Links with George, gets it back. Pops a handball over the top. Chance for Garner to run onto this. Dribbles it inside 50 past Lewis Young. And the Tigers get it from one end to the other for a throw-in. They lead by 11 points. We're in a time on third term, 7 VFL's match of the day. On a spectacular, beautiful, warm day. No, it's not really. Looks it. Chilly day. Brutal conditions in the second term. As a big squall came blasting through Punt Road. Hopefully the worst of the weather's gone, but the breeze has remained. Blowing pretty strongly to the left of screen in this third term, the end of which Carlton are kicking, which is why these opportunities have been so important for them. Unfortunately, they've kicked 3-2, missed a couple they could have kicked to put themselves in front, or certainly be locked up with the Tigers.
They've had 10 inside 50s to 4 for the quarter, but once again, the Tigers have taken advantage. Coulthard will try and continue that trajectory. He misses across the face to the right, but he's had quite the day. 16 possessions and a behind, mainly behind Wilson and Garner for most possessions for the Tigers. Jack Carroll's had a good third term for the Blues and a big day thus far. He's had 17. Cooper Lord with 14 in the Blues midfield. Young, handball for the aforementioned Lord, who was able to work his way around Davidson without too much hassle, but it's chopped off. Clarkson changes angles for George, who kicked 2 in the first half. Control from the Tigers. Garner. Gray. Knocked away by Aquay from Johnson and Thomas. Green maybe seeking a free more than trying to work his way out of the Ferronato tackle, who's hunting the footy. Pops out. Davidson's there for the Tigers. He goes to ground. Lord on top of him. Will enjoy being on the bottom of the mat.
Cooper Lord has shown a bit this afternoon. Started his season at North Melbourne in the VFL. Picked up by the Blues in the mid-season draft. Lewis Young. Heart and mouth stuff there for Luke Power, but Marchbank hauls it in. The switching's certainly been better in this third term, Liv. They've managed to open up the game a little bit.
Yeah, they absolutely have, and getting in behind just like this has been very creative from Carlton.
It's a very straight line in the opening half, and the Tigers were able to just get numbers behind the football and clog them up.
Yeah, it absolutely is, and that's the key to good offense, is being able to change the angles, but then also get the balance right between getting a speed on the ball with a hands receive option and then just trying to kick forward as well. So they've been brilliant at that in this last 15 minutes or so, Carlton.
They've certainly got the forward firepower, if they can get the entries right. Well done, Olden. George. Stepping through there was Collier. He releases Guiney, and now a chance for the Tigers through Johnson.
Injury in back play to Corey Durden with a shoulder issue. More on that in a moment. You've seen elects to bounce. Prout taking ground off him, but not enough. Great read from Will White. We spoke to him about it before. That was even better to take the intercept mark on this occasion and share it off to Lord, as Corey Durden, with both shoulders taped, is walking forlornly towards the Carlton bench. So the Blues one down, but with the ball in hand through Cunningham. goes to Aquay, who makes Young backpedal. He had Prout, but then further afield Binns. Now the Blues get a rotation, and it's Nelson who pops straight in off the bench and will mark this footy from Binns. Marchbank presents short, the former Tiger. Goes to an out. Bradley! Brought it to ground level and put his knee fairly and squarely into McMahon's back.
Huge fly from Brindley. Aquay didn't quite bring it down. Can Lockie Young clear this? He's stripped of the football. Maybe a chance here for the Tigers. Gray comes bursting through. Coulthard's handball went behind Wilson. Blues try to get numbers there. Spinning through again was Young. Did well to Binns. He goes to the voice. Is it going to get as far as Monahan? 2-on-1. Numbers a win here for the Tigers. Johnson will go down the line. Kick a little big for Cumberland. Binns will track it back. Noah shoves him in the back. And then works Durden to the line for a throw-in. And Liam McMahon now coming to the bench. Macca.
Yes, Liam McMahon, that's right. That leg wasn't into the back. I think it was in the back of the head, so high was Brindley's climb. So concerns with concussion, they'll assess Liam McMahon when he comes off. And of course Durden as well with that left shoulder was carrying him all the way off. Has had shoulder injuries in the past. Both shoulders strapped obviously, so some drama for the Blues on the bench.
Yeah, Durden just hanging that left arm out in the tackle and had it bent back. Really tweaked that joint. Tackle Farinado. Well done, Garner keeps it alive, creates something here. Dow taps it on. Cumberland for the finish. Will it curl back? Not quite. And Liv, you're the physio on the team. That action from Corey Durden, when you've had some shoulder issues, you hang the arm out and it gets sort of pushed backwards. What can that do for your shoulder?
Yeah, it absolutely is the worst position for your shoulder, particularly in a tackle, because you're very vulnerable. You don't have your body behind the behind your arm, and then you get this pinch in the shoulder, which is exactly what he experienced in that situation. So hopefully there's no big damage done.
Carlton with a couple of more looks with the breeze here. Lemmy got through his fingertips. It won't evade Collier, a goal kicker in the quarter. Cumberland to Dow. Olden at 50 into the breeze. Thomas the deepest for the Tigers. He'll be amongst the flyers here, as will be Gray. They brought it to ground level. Gray gets a look. That was clever hand to foot. He's worked a fourth. Two in the first, two in the third. Campbell Gray is coming with a rush. And they just continue to keep the Blues at distance. We're back to the 19-point margin that we were at the half. Carlton continuing to rue what might have been. Libby Birch, the Crown replay. How's the handles from Campbell Gray at 195 to get the long arms down to the feet and kick a fourth?
Oh, absolutely. Right hand to left boot in a matter of seconds. He's playing like a small, tall and small, and that's the benefit of having a player like him in the forward line, is that you can play him anywhere and he's dangerous on both accounts. And it's particularly hard to match up on someone that can do both.
20-year-old from Keilor through Essendon VFL, as Nudge mentioned. We've tracked his progress over the last few years from best and fairest in the Keilor thirds. He is putting on a show this afternoon. Carroll in there scrapping against Garner, who's been outstanding. Kick went sideways, but might still work for the Tigers. Hayes Brown loses his footing and is pounced upon. Garner wrapped up. Tigers by 19 points. Closing in on three-quarter time. There's Liam McMahon where he got the knee high up on the back there.
You got your DPS in the back there as well, so maybe that caused a bit of an extra knock there where the knee went in.
Merck off the tap. Past Nelson, flipped on by Lord. Physical work there from Cumberland. Bounces it towards half forward. Sam Durden comes out. Floats a kick back towards the wing. Coming from all sides. Smith hit it full chested. It bounced off. Lemmy. Flip from Marr. Taken by Binns. Pops it towards Cunningham at half forward. It'll come off the back. Carl versus Brindley. Brindley gets there first. Works with Wilson. Back to Brindley. Now to Smith. Smith's high kick. Will the breeze grab this? It will be a Carlton ball.
They've simply got to squeeze one more major out here, Carlton. They've kicked 3 with the breeze. Ferranato, Moya and Lemmy. Lemmy almost all the way to ground. Appeals to the umpire as the game goes on.
Love to see a little bit more intent and desperation around the footy from Carlton. They need to win this game, and I know that it doesn't mean anything for their season, but it's really important because they've been so close to so many teams, and just to get a bit of belief in their game plan, and there's nothing better than the 4 points. So there's no point just playing this game out. They can definitely get ahead in this game and kick a few now.
Guiney, the spare for the Tigers, you can see him middle part of your screen, acquires the free around the contest for the Blues, who will go forward via Carroll.
Next one, Vince.
Free kick hold, and totally unnecessary given Richmond had the outnumber, and Harry Lemmy, the footy god, swing back his way 90 seconds after the miss mark.
Well, that's what happens when you've been a little bit active in front of the ball.
Lemmy has 2 in the third, and 2 is the margin.
Feels like the breeze has picked up again, doesn't it? Which will suit the Tigers in the final term.
Well, really unnecessary push there on Lemming. And that's the reason why, thanks to the Crown replay, because he's been so active this quarter, it makes you a little bit more desperate as a defender to make sure he doesn't get that footy. And unfortunately, they're just really giving away the free kick, and Lemming slotting another one for the quarter. But they're so close here, Carlton. They've got a sniff. They need to put the foot on the pedal.
Marching back to 13 points. Murkoff the tap. Garner tried to come through, get a free kick, was held. We're not in possession. It's been so impressive, Garner. Advantage won't be paid. Come back. It's his 21st touch. He's really led from the front this afternoon, put his body on the line for his team. Gray's been outstanding. Off to Smith. Towards the pocket. It floats. Durden comes out, gets the spoil. Lovely pick-up from Prout. One grabbed it. Now to Lemmy. He'll turn around. He's got Moya in a one-on-one. Can he get it over the back? It's Moya versus McCarthy. Moya tracks it in the air. Bouncing football. A race. Well done, McCarthy. He wins that race.
It's 2 kicks, and I'm sure Luke Power and his coaching staff's minds are turning to how they'll be able to find 2 goals into the breeze in the last. Kick in, Clarkson is wide. Brindley bins out to Prout, out of bounds.
Well, how is the question? And I reckon they've got to be quite aggressive with their spare, Nige, and particularly going into the wind. The spare's got to start up at the stoppage a little bit more to get some power off that half-back line.
Richmond have shown in this quarter you can kick them to the Brunton Avenue end. That's another one out of the full from Clarkson. So
now, did that actually ever go back into play? Because if it didn't, it should be a throw-in in the pocket.
Chases onto the umpires.
Bins deep. Gray's gone behind the footy here for the Tigers. He's at ground level now. Yes, there is an ever-growing list of queries that Jason is.
He's not happy with the umpire in this pocket.
They are worthy queries.
I'm a stickler for the rules, even if I don't know what they are, Liv.
So Murkoff and Hayes Brown, once again, we're on Ned Carl watch here. Dow, and spat up to Hayes Brown, hand pass, Coulthard, and Richmond see off the danger. An enterprising third term that was up and down for both sides. The sum total in the end was Carlton.
Top 10 with a month to play in the VFL home and away season. Murkoff against Hayes Brown. Wilson out wide for Yassine against Hogg, who looks to corral. Mo Yassine towards half forward. That's a clever kick. Finds Thompson Dow. Hands off to Garner. Garner will attack the goal square. Big flight at the back from Gray. Umpire said unrealistic. Gray says, hang on, I touched it.
Blues need to attack this now. Go through the middle where they can.
Durden sets it up. Marchbank's a tough one because Brindley's going to come over the top. That's a good spoil into a dangerous spot. Cumberland for the finish. Wynn's going to grab that. Everything at that end today has been ripped from right to left. Tigers by 13 points.
Having a rough year in front of goal in the VFL, Noah Cumberland. 2 behinds today, 4-14 in his 6 games. Marchbank and Wilson. Smaller man wins the day. Green. Coulthard gave it straight to Cunningham, who threw him out of it. Lord back into the traffic. Carroll felt like he was being held without it. Cunningham went to ground through the Collier pressure. Dow gets to the outside. Binns could grab it. Finds Moyer. And the Blues want to keep this moving. Binns with the outside of the left to Nelson, to Young. Sliding forward the skipper, and Carlton couldn't generate a score to get the final term started in the similar vein to which Liam McMahon did the third, and now it's Richmond looking for a counter punch as Wilson goes to Davidson.
Impressive youngster Davidson, his handball into the path of Brindley, coming the other way of Quay. Pops one over the top. Gray draws a man. Cumberland and Hayes Brown, they work it out. Here's Noah. Just chips it to the pocket. Took the speed off the kick and allowed Coulthard to come forward and mark. Clever player Matt Coulthard will step around and try to extend this Richmond lead to 3 straight kicks. And he does. Tigers by 18 points.
Well, a 12-point turnaround thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay. Carlton have a shot up one end, and then Richmond slingshot down the ground and get an opportunity within 30 seconds up their end of the ground and nail it. So they've been more efficient today all across the ground, and that just shows their ability to get from their back half to their forward half quickly. Steve Morris leading the charge throughout today. Brilliant there from the Tigers.
That Coulthard with what would have to go close to being his best game in a Richmond jumper after being taken in last year's mid-season rookie draft. Murkoff got it out. Carroll put too much on it though for Lord, and Cumberland will not let him free. Been a good second showing from Cooper Lord as a Blue. 19 touches against Southport, 18 so far today. Cumberland just got it off to Wilson, creative by hand to Garner, who's done everything else bar kick a goal today. He might set one up for Davidson.
The Tigers, they just know those 2 pockets so well. They obviously train here every week, but they're able to use the wind to their advantage, and a brilliant kick there into the space. Both kicks of these last 2 inside 50 have been to the space of the forwards.
What an addition this man's been at punt road this year in the VFL. Curls it back. Richmond have the first 2 of the last. As we see the build-up to Davidson's first of the day on the Chemist Warehouse replay. We've done a lot of Carlton games this year, Jason. It feels like this is running to a familiar rhythm. They have been in so many matches. You spoke about the margins of their losses, but there's just these moments where games get away from them.
Yep. Yeah, it's been a constant theme for them.
It's disappointing, Jace, because they get themselves in games and then they just can't finish it off. And I wonder whether that's a mindset thing or the way they're attacking the footy in the last quarter.
Cumberland spears to the pocket, lunging mark from a man who's been super impressive this afternoon, Campbell Gray. He's kicked 4. Needs this one just inside the right post, and the breeze will bring it back.
Been beaten out of the middle a few times in this last term, but also their defence has really been lagging. Carlton just sloppy on some things.
So Gray opens up the angle. Gets to the top of the square, and the Blues see it through via Ramshaw. Margin to 25. Important this game for the Tigers to consolidate their spot inside the top 10. They'll sit 9th after this. We've got a handful of teams breathing down their neck in the race for those wild card spots. 7 play 10 and 8 play 9 in the wild card. Winners of those 2 knockout games go into the final 8 proper. That's all to come on 7 VFL. Coming up in a month or so. 4 more weeks of home and away footy to go in VFL season 2024.
Ferranato to Binns, patrolling the wing. Nelson to Cunningham, forward of the ball. Elects to come back inside and reconnect with Carroll. Neat use again to find McMahon, who's recovered from the knee from Brindley in term 3. He'll try and kick his 2nd of the day and keep Carlton alive.
One thing the Blues have done in this second half is they've opened up that space for the key forwards. Liam McMahon works in nicely, being able to tick back at the footy, which they weren't able to do in the first half.
They didn't kick a goal to the Brunton Avenue end in the second. Lockie Young went close in the opening moments of this quarter. A lot's changed since then.
Well, a brilliant tackle there, and then just a quick play on thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay. And McMahon is brilliant behind the ball here. He's ticking back to the goal square to be able to come back at the kicker, and that's exactly what you want. And in the first half, the half forwards were around that area, clogging that up for his work rate. So now that's a perfect positioning. They need to continue to do that. They're still within 19 points here, so they can, if they kick another one, get another sniff at this game.
Lemmy in the ruck against Hayes Brown. Ferranato, was he taken high by Dow? He was.
Bit of a shrug there, I think.
So Ferranato has it in the middle of Punt Road. Called to go. It's a half forward. Didn't quite get all of it, but it does get over the back of the contest. So dangerous here. McMahon cuts off the handball, brushes a tackler. Lord pops it up. Can Monahan make a contest? He can. Gets it to ground. Nelson fires a handball. Will White towards the pocket. The dangerous Carl. Monahan there lays a tackle. Well done, Brindley coming the other way. Richmond defence under enormous pressure here as McMahon works it to the line and creates a stoppage. I think I said 4 weeks to go in the season. It's actually 7 weeks to go in the season. My apologies. Around 21 of football. So still plenty of time for the Tigers if they can get on a roll to get out of those wildcard positions as Noah Cumberland limps to the bench for some medical treatment. The side lead by 19 points.
Lemmy got it down. Wilson will extract for the Tigers. Dow taken down straight away by Jackson Binns, who's got 20 touches alongside Jack Carroll so far for the Blues. Wilson with 27 to lead all comers for the Tigers. Carroll again trying to drive Carlton back into this game. McMahon hands to it. Johnson in the right spot to Crumb defensively. Shares to Collier. He needs an option out wide. He'll get it in the form of Thomas. In just his second VFL game. Nice job in front of the more experienced Lewis Young. Had a good season with Old Camberwell in the Premier B competition of the amateurs. It's Thomas. Just checks the kick, but Nelson awake to it. It was an awkward landing. Brindley got the mark in the end. There was some confusion. No confusion, though, from Collier. The acrobatic bounce. Scott looking for it. Marchbank has him. This game still bobbing around. 19 points was the margin at the half. It's been snakes and ladders to get to the 11-minute mark of the fourth.
Lemmy against Hayes Brown, who got the tap. Davidson tries to power through the bins tackle. Wilson's been outstanding. Here's a chance for Green. He straightens up and goals.
Well, there was good, immense pressure there by Carlton, but they just lost their contest balance around the stoppage there. And what happened was Richmond got to the outside. They had no players to contest, and thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay, they slot another one. Richmond have been great at being able to throw the counter punch to Carlton's goals today, and that's why they've been in ripping form, particularly with the injuries that they've had to their list.
So margin at 25 after the Green goal. And again, the Tigers just have all the answers, it seems, in this one. Ferronato scoops. Wilson impacted the hand pass and then fights against multiple insurgents in Navy. Hayes Brown. The hand pass out. Carroll, slippery as ever, to Binns. Wider for Lockie Young. He'll go back to the blue 25. A careful kick over the head of Marchbank. Collier presents, knocked it forward, Coulthard, Aquay once and twice gets him, then tried to get the legs involved in the tackle. I can let you know news of a late change ahead of Carlton and Richmond later this afternoon. Carlton electing to manage Tom De Koning, so Mark Pitternet, who was pulled from this game, will take his place back in the AFL lineup.
Well, that's a big decision.
Sam Davidson impeded by Binns over the line. So free kick will go the way of Carroll. Wilson, outstretched hands. Been a good duel with Ferronato. Short for Nelson. Free kick off ball. No, Wilson getting into the protected zone, it seems. So once again, this game could sit at the halftime margin of 19 points. Luke Nelson, who was out of the team, and the knock-on effect of Pitternet's elevation and Motlop being the carryover meant Luke Nelson came back into the team. He's played a couple of matches with Noble Park in the Eastern Football League this season. Spent time on Richmond's VFL list previously. Also part of Coburg for a couple of seasons. Carlton just simply won't go away.
A really costly 50-metre penalty here, thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay. Gets within scoring distance, and again, the Blues have a sniff. They just can't close it more than 13 points in the last quarter, but they need to. And they've definitely got the chance here. So a good clearance here will set them up for some forward half time, which will then give them another opportunity to score.
So 3 goals to 2 in the final quarter so far. It was 19 at the half. Carlton got it back to 12 points at 3-quarter time. Can they find back-to-back goals? Free kick, Murkoff against Hayes Brown will help. Moya, the dish to the recent goal kicker Nelson. Guiney, Lemmy cast in the role of Rover, off the ground with a left. Back-to-back goals for Carlton. Harry Lemmy's come alive in the second half with 3.
Well, exactly what the Blues needed, a quick clearance goal thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay, and this game is definitely on. And Lemming, what a champion he is, being able to get to the fall of the ball there but control it with his feet in for a goal. But a great forward momentum, territory gaining clearance that just chained their way inside 50 there. Brilliant. And Luke Power, he's definitely got a sniff of the 4 points now.
Harry Lemmy with 3 of Carlton's last 5 goals. He and Liam McMahon have been a presence in the game in the second half. Campbell Gray into the ruck for the Tigers. He's kicked 4 this afternoon. Lord and Wilson continue to go at it inside the phone box.
They've opted Carlton for their spare to be close to the stoppage, as we've spoken about, a more attacking position.
Murkoff got it down. Lord once again engaged at ground level, this time against Coulthard. Carlton led this game for a brief 6-minute period. Between the 1st and 7-minute marks today, they're coming now. Nelson to Lord, back with a flight, Tresize. Lemmy elected to go to ground, Tresize stayed up. Shares to Brindley, he tumbles it along the line. George knocked forward Collier. It worked free. Well done by the Tigers. All of them on their first time in the league this year, but eventually it was an experienced Tiger in Dow who got taken to ground and turned it over. Prout, Cumberland got into the back of Marchbank. Advantage. Ramshaw deep for McMahon. 1 by 2. Collier working to the last line. Wants the line. What's the call?
Oh, that was another sceptical call last night as well. And Collier, you could see him thinking about it. I can't run over this line directly, but I'm just going to wait for the pressure to come, and then I can walk myself over. It's hard. It's hard as a defender. You probably almost have to train it now.
We've bid farewell to Jason Bennett, who's making his way up to be part of the AFL call this afternoon. I'm sure he's taking in that one on the phone as well. So Richmond gets some control all of a sudden. Coulthard having it. This is 21st touch. A minute away from time on. Garner and Gray have both been pivotal for the Tigers. The track's out. So, Lib, what's the structure behind the footy now for Carlton, who've had territory for the last 5 or so minutes?
Yeah, well, they've had the spare all game that sits quite deep, but now they're starting to play it right behind the stoppage so they can get some attack, almost like an extra sweeper to get some push through the midfield there.
Johnson, the spare back in defence for Richmond. Murkoff down to Lord. The kick will head for the area where Johnson is. McCarthy was the flyer. Brindley stayed out the back. Now they generate the spare. Coulthard, Clarkson, McCarthy, now forced into a kick. Murkoff got the tentacles out, just gets it up. Well done, big man. Lord to Carroll, tries to run out of the traffic. That was almost a throw as Garner palmed it. And 2 Tigers pile in to complete the tackle on Yon.
You can hear a bit of the energy shift from the Blues as well. They know they've got a sniff now.
Dow, George, Cumberland. Scott went back to the sprinting Noah. This kick could skid for Gray. Davidson wants to go off the ground. He just didn't get the right piece of it. It went as far as Hogg. And we saw one paid in similar circumstances a bit earlier on. Darcy Hogg not the beneficiary of a free this time. And for Richmond, they've got it 20 metres from goal and can shut this down with a major. Lord, wide ball, Garner can mark carefully. He's got a heap of players in the corridor and can play the arc if he wants to.
Murkov made no attempt there to help get that ball to ground, so disappointing there by the ruck not to go and compete with Gardner.
1 goal for the season for Joel Garner against Coburg in round 6. He'll tee this one up. Gets to the back. Quay's kick smothered. Davidson on the spot with 2 in the last. Richmond staring at another set of 4 points. And they've just simply made more of the moments, more of their chances today. 49 inside 50s to 47, and there's just been a little bit more bite about them in attack.
We can see Davidson there just corralling, getting electricity in his feet around that contest, just in case that ball bobbled out. And that's a great finish there, thanks to the Chemist Warehouse replay by young Davidson. And Richmond, they've had answers to Carlton all day, and they definitely deserve this 4-point victory.
Davidson bobs up with 2 goals again, the 4th time he's done that this season, and he's got to be a player that's in conversations when the chat starts in a few weeks' time about the candidates for this year's Fothergill Round Mitchell medal for the most promising player in the VFL. Clarkson's kick wide for Garner, who's got to be in the Richmond votes today, given he has played multiple roles and he's executed all of them beautifully.
He has. He's been terrific in the ruck, being able to create a contest and get it down to his midfielders. That's all you need to do as a midfielder in the ruck, get it down and then compete and be that extra midfielder in there.
Lemmy, 3 second-half goals, having his turn in the ruck, and Hayes Brown wrestles him to the turf. It's been another good showing for the Category B rookie Tiger. He gives away a free kick on that occasion. Bins inside 50, Brindley in front. Does well to take the mark low down.
Richmond's defence has been pretty exceptional again today, being able to repel a lot of Carlton's inside 50s consistently across the game.
Over the top, Durden with a sizable fist that'll go all the way to the line. The AFL Under-18 Championships are underway at the moment. Vic Metro beating South Australia by 52 points at Alberton Oval earlier today. Carlton fans sweating on the prospects of Scott Camporelli's 2 boys who are draft eligible this year. We can tell you Ben Camporeale was South Australia's leading possession getter today with 29 touches in that loss. So some more stock heading towards Icon Park through the draft at the end of the year, and how great the father-son rule is for the traditions in our game. Moyer a flyer amongst Brindley, who in the end claimed an unlikely mark. Lemmy engaged with Hayes Brown. It popped off the head of Thomas in the end. Tigers in the VFL with the Northern Bull Ants next Sunday at Jenna Steele Oval. Carlton set to face the Giants, who had the scalp of Southport yesterday, snapping their winning streak at 7. We've got 2 other games underway this afternoon in the Smithies VFL. We'll bring you updates of those games that are also in the final quarter shortly. Geelong and Sandringham, and Sydney hosting Werribee. Cumberland to George, to Garner. Durden back, as is Davidson. The Tigers arrive now. Campbell Gray for a 5th. No, he'll provide Davidson with 3 in the last.
Well, it's been the tale all day for Carlton. Close enough, but Richmond have been able to provide answers, and they've been fantastic at being able to get inside 50 and make it efficient. They haven't had a lot of disposals today, but when they have, they've made them accurate and pivotal to the scoring chain ability. And you can see there a kick to the advantage of their forward, Davidson, and just that contest that he was able to create enables him to have a second bite at it. But Richmond have been so good at that today.
And Sam Davidson has an uncanny knack of hitting the scoreboard and bopping up. Didn't have a goal to three-quarter time. Had been reasonably involved in the game. He's going to end up with quite the stat line. 18 possessions and now 3 goals. Steve Morris will be comfortable that his team are back on the winners list after the loss to Box Hill. Back in round 7, but lost to the Bulldogs back in round 7, lost to Box Hill prior to the bye. They right the ship now, and 7 and 5, the percentage in and about 100. You think they can at least be a part of the wild card, if not something bigger in season 2024 in the VFL, which is a great result given the metamorphosis that their AFL list is undergoing at the moment. There's plenty of good talent underneath in the VFL, learning from Steve Morris and co. Maybe a couple like Campbell Gray who can press their claims for AFL debuts before the season is out. Murkoff grabbed it from the shallow throw-in.
Hayes Brown as well. He's been another one that has really competed well in the ruck today, but I'm been surprised by how tall he is, but his ability to work at ground level as well on occasions, being able to get it up to his midfielders. So another great sign for Richmond Tigers that the depth is growing from this VFL side.
208 centimetres, 8 games with old Ivanhoe this season in addition to the 3 in the VFL. Green for a second and an exclamation mark on a Tiger victory.
That pickup from Green was absolutely elite. It was a right-hand pickup, didn't even need 2 hands, and was able to keep driving his legs through the contest and out, and a great finish there by Green. We'll watch the replay now, but yeah, right hand, one-hand pickup, Chemist Warehouse replay depicts it all, but just a classy midfielder who's had his chance at AFL level a couple of times this year. But he's been brilliant today as well, Nudge. Green 3, 2 in the last. Davidson 3, Campbell Gray hobbling to the bench, but surely just precautionary. What an afternoon he's had. He was the man to help set it up with 4 goals in the opening half. And Carlton, they've got close, but Richmond have kicked 3 goals in 6 minutes here after the margin was 12 points. It's bungeed out the other way to a game-high 30. Kudos to Steve Morris coaching. We spoke about this earlier, Nudge, but some great clarity in the way that he wants his team to play.
Hayes Brown, Wilson. 30 touches for Wilson. Garner put it forward. Marchbank taps it free. Richmond seeking more glory. You're seeing to Dow. Cumberland. Green for 4. You bet. It's an avalanche.
Yeah, and it's getting ugly for the Blues now. You never want a game like this to expand to 30-plus points, and they've let it happen, and it's just to the likes of their ability to stay in the contest for longer in the midfield. And Richmond have been able to get so many easy clearances, and just their forward territory momentum moving forward. You can see there, Garner, a big kick inside 50. Carlton do their best here to apply pressure, but just clean at ground level, and they've been that all day. Cumberland, obviously very clever there to draw the defender in, but Steely Green, wow.
And the different avenues to goal. So 10 majors between Green, Davidson, and that man Campbell Gray, who all play slightly different roles. McMahon and Lemmy, 5 between them, but not much amongst the supporting cast for Carlton. Murkoff to Carroll, who's been undoubtedly one of the Blues' best. George will claim the mark, and he kicked 2 really pivotal goals in the first half. Cumberland with a barrel that'll carry. Young gets to the back and marks. His kick, though, is trapped in the breeze. Coulthard shaded out by Prout. And Dom McQuay sees it over the line. If you're a late comer to the broadcast, Dom McQuay had 6 intercept marks in the first half. He was excellent for Carlton. Really positive sign that with his 46th VFL game under the belt, I don't think he's going to need to be called upon anytime soon, but he's certainly a commodity worth persisting with if you're a Blue. Dow was chucked out of it. Cumberland can't muscle free of Lord or Carroll, and Cooper Lord's been the other story from a Carlton perspective. 23 touches and a goal. It's been a great second showing from Carlton's selection out of the recent mid-season rookie drafts. Binns to Carroll. Johnson, who's played a smart role behind the ball, takes a relieving mark for the Tigers. A man who's shown his prowess forward previously, the product of Cheltenham and St Beeds, who also spent some time on Frankston's list. Just control required now from the Tigers. This man, Joel Garner, he has done it all. Tom McCarthy's got a leg on him. Davidson there, fist from Hayes Brown. Thomas looking to get creative. Ball still alive for the Tigers. Aquay wants the line. Binns, Prouts. Head down, out to Lord. They're out of harm's way now. White to Carroll. He's got a yellow and black wall in front of him. And behind, Cumberland pinned him. And the final chapter of this game will be written in the rain that we saw hammer down during the second quarter. I feel like we might have a day of changing conditions next door at the MCG, where these two teams are about to go at it at AFL level. As mentioned, if you haven't heard the news, Tom de Koning out, Mark Pitternet in. And that is neat from George to Dow. And the Tigers have got a chance to get past the ton, as they did in the round 9 win in the VFL Dreamtime clash at the G over the Bombers. Thompson Dow, 14 AFL games this season. He's been put back into the VFL to find some form, and find that he has today. 3 inside 50s, 23 possessions, 7 clearances. Across the face for Dow, and a neat mark in defence for Harry Lemmy. So this one going pretty lengthy in the last quarter. That, through the scoring we've seen, it's 7 goals to 3. Moyer to Carl. Inside 50 for McMahon. Needs the bounce, won't get it. Collier was able to glove him. As the fans making their way through Richmond Station towards the G.
In the rain. Having
a look above the fence line. The lights have been on and off here at the Swinburne Centre this afternoon, and rightly so. Carroll out of the ruck. He has done it all too. Moyer tried to shade it down. Lord had it stolen by Dow. Johnson goes off the ground and nutmegs a couple of Blues, not Marchbank. Young. Marmark's on the stretch. Got it away from Yassine. Ferronato searching for an option, gets it in the form of Murkov.
Carlton just haven't got the balance right today of when to play their tempo style game and when to go quick. And when they have gone quick, it has worked more often than not, as we just saw there. A great handball receive and then hitting a leading forward has been really hard for Richmond to defend, but they just haven't done it as often as they would have liked.
Just 2 VFL goals for Alex Murkov. His 38th game today, the most recent major, round 6 this year against Werribee. He's got things going straight here late. Murkov the goal, and it's back to a 30-point buffer. Alex Murkov sitting 8th in the league for hit-outs, coming in with an average of 26 a game. He's had the better of the ruck. Rare that he would come up against a ruckman with less experience, but he's facing another Category B rookie who's a couple of years back in their journey in the form of Oliver Hayes-Brown today. Murkov with 38 hit-outs. The Carlton haven't been able to really make the most of that first possession advantage. Clearances have been pretty much even. And scoring-wise, Richmond plus 15 from stoppages. One last battle perhaps between Murkoff and Hayes-Brown. Dow carves through. Wilson to Garner, who have been magnificent for the Tigers. Coulthard, very important through quarters 1 to 3. Spears it to Olden.
That's an excellent line off the mark there, being able to come back a few steps, then cut in corridor and find that target up forward. And Green, wow, hasn't he been a live wire in this last quarter, Nudge?
The game's opened up quite spectacularly, Lib. 8-7 to 6-7 at three-quarter time. It's 7-2 to 4-2 in the last before this kick from Steely Green. Steely Green had 1 goal at the 12-minute mark of the last. He finishes with 5. And the Tigers, on a Sunday where two great rivals are going to duke it out in both competitions, draw first blood. Richmond with a 36-point win in the end. They go to 7-5 on the VFL season, and Steve Morris's team are well and truly in contention for honours when it really matters, as they were last year. Campbell Gray, magnificent. The Essendon VFL product, now a Richmond AFL player, kicked 4 goals in the first half. He's with Macca.